In today's day and age, robots are all around us. They make our products, serve our food, save our lives, and even deliver our most discreet packages. That's,
Drone deliveries are a thing now?
It's my new leaf blower.
Right, your leaf blower. Hi YouTube, welcome back in hell. My name is Cypress, and if you didn't know yet, I stream live on Twitch. So if you'd like to see me play games, or hang out with me in my community, or you would like to say in chat that you didn't know that I stream live, go to twitch.tv/vtuber and I hope to see you there sometime. Today we'll be watching another video by chat history. This is ridiculous scams that actually worked.
The most ridiculous scams in history.
Oh no, the poor guy, he looked really heartbroken. Selling the Eiffel Tower, okay.
Scams suck. While many are painfully obvious, like trying to get Mima to pay her taxes with Apple gift cards, some are extremely elaborate and require years of investment before seeing any kind of payoff. Others, however, it's like, come on. You really fell for that?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's really stupid that there are people that are falling for it when you say, like, oh, I am this celebrity and I need money, or I'm a Nigerian prince, and they fall for it. But if you think about it, it's actually also really, really sad that you could fall for that. Yeah, I feel really sad for you if you fall for that.
And that's where our first story starts. Way back in the year of 1925, Europe was dealing with a rather sleazy and shady Austro-Hungarian man, one by the name of Viktor Lustig. Which one did you think I was talking about?
Honestly, my mind was empty.
Anyway, Victor was one of those types of people who were always destined to become a professional scumbag. He was born in 1890 to a loving and successful tobacco salesman dad who gave Victor many loving and successful smackaroos.
Oh no!
But a little tough love wasn't
Don't do that!
Gonna get Victor down, so he pulled himself up by his Das bootstraps, went through boarding school, learned several languages, and turned to a life of degeneracy. He started out with petty theft and cheating in card games as a teen, but
bro, but you're so smart.
Once he cut all ties with his family and moved out to Paris at the age of 19, that's when the little con boy became a con man. Side note, did you
I'm not a con boy anymore, I'm a con man.
You know that the term con artist is actually short for confidence artist?
Oh, I did not know that, but it makes sense because I could never be a con artist because I do not have the confidence. I don't have the confidence to say bullshit with with a serious face. Like, I feel like you'll probably see that I'm sweating or something if I would do that.
Yeah, it's because they have a knack for building up your confidence and trust before completely fleecing you. Thought that was a neat little fact. All right, so throughout the
giving me confidence. Oh yeah, I also cannot do that.
10s and 1920s, Victor faced dozens of arrests for various scams, but never served any major time. He scammed luxury travelers by posing as a Broadway producer, defrauded banks, and even made his own magical money duplicator he called the Romanian box.
The what? The magical money duplicator? And was he like trying to sell it and people believed it?
Yeah, he would have potential customers load the machine with a special bill and a blank piece of paper, turn a few knobs, spin a few wheels, tweak a few nips, and bippy boppy,
no.
a perfect copy.
Oh no, how did they fall for that?
He then had the duplicate verified by a local bank as proof. The trick was that these were two planted, genuine bills. They just had their serial numbers altered to look identical. After giving the A-OK from the bank, Victor would then sell the box at an insane markup. The genius though was that even when some stupid assholes bought it, they couldn't report Victor to the police once they realized they were scams. I mean, what are they gonna do? Tell them that their counterfeit money printer wasn't working right?
Yep.
Funny enough, he actually sold one to a sheriff in Texas. Once the sheriff caught on, however, he tracked Victor down and cornered him. Of course, Victor charisma'd his way out of being arrested by bribing the upstanding lawman with thousands of dollars. They were all counterfeit. Pretty embarrassing.
Oh my god, I'm double scammed! Are you serious, Sheriff?
Most of his money machines happened few and far in between, so he needed to think bigger. And being positioned in Paris in 1925, the answer...
He was thinking literally bigger, the Eiffel Tower?
...was right in front of him. No, to the left a little bit. There you go.
You
see, the Eiffel Tower, as iconic as it is today, was never actually supposed to be a permanent thing. It was built for the 1889 World's Fair and was planned to be dismantled by 1909. So, by 1925, some local Parisians thought the rusty and weathered tower had overstayed his welcome. Victor had spotted a headline in the paper discussing the financial burden that the tower was, with expensive maintenance costs and such, but a particular line caught his eye, talking about how the government should look into selling the tower for scrap. This gave Victor an idea. He was going to sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap. Not actually, but he would trick people into thinking he was. Posing as a government
Okay, so that's how he did it.
official, Victor invited a group of scrap metal dealers and gave a whole elaborate spiel about how the government wanted to scrap the
I don't know how these people are doing it. I could never do this. I don't know. I feel like I could only, I guess, lie this big if it's like a life or death situation. And then it's still gonna be really hard. I don't know how they're doing it so easily, or at least it looks really easily.
tower. The deconstruction deal was to be done in secret so as not to freak out the French. Oh, très bon. They bought it, literally.
Of course they did.
Although it sounded a bit fishy, dealer André Poisson agreed to buy the rights to the monument for 70,000 francs, which, oddly enough, is only about $64,000 in today's money, which seems crazy cheap, but
that was a lot back then, right?
whatever. It was free money. Victor took the check and immediately fled to his homeland of Austria. Just like those scammed by the Romanian box, Poisson
I mean, to be fair, in that time and the fact that people were like complaining about the Eiffel Tower, I guess I can kind of get why they fell for it.
was embarrassed about being catfished, so he kept things under wraps. With no publicity surrounding the scam, Victor tried his luck again. Just a month later, he attempted to sell the tower a second time.
Oh gosh.
But during this attempt, these scrap dealers weren't dealing with this crap, so they called the cops.
As they should. I was like, there's no way that the other scrap dealers were not talking with the others about like the scam that's going around. Why the fuck are they on the ceiling? And why are they sounding moist? Why are they moist? What's happening?
Victor managed to escape and fled to the United States, but that's where his luck ran out. He was eventually arrested in a massive counterfeiting scheme in 1935 and was sentenced to 15 years on Alcatraz Island. He died of pneumonia in 1947, finally putting an end to the professional con man. If someone ever waltzes up to you with a bunch of cool looking lotions and potions, save yourself the trouble and do a 360 and walk away. It's never a good time.
A 360, okay.
But some more desperate people looking for a bit of a pick-me-up may instead get to chugging. First introduced into the market in 1925, Radiator was touted about as a panacea. Panacea, for any non-JRPG players, is a universal medical cure-all originating from Greek mythology. Fixes any and all ailments: depression, bad cough, high blood pressure, backwards knees, even turning men's sad floppers into hardened showstoppers. Well, hey there, little guy. But Radiator was no such miracle.
Aww.
The mind behind this medical wonder was William John Aloysius Bailey, a Harvard University dropout who claimed that he was a licensed medical doctor. He was not. So what was Radiator? Well, I'm sure you smart fellas and fellettes can piece it together by the name.
Oh, it does say
Radiator was a small dose of radium salts dissolved in water. That's right. Radioactive water. Now, what you have to understand is, at the time, the science surrounding radium was not well understood, with the unstable element having only been discovered a few decades prior by Madame Marie Curie and her empty-bladdered husband, Pierre. While there had been some research showing promise for radium as a medical treatment, mainly its ability to shrink cancerous tumors, it still required extensive testing to potentially use radium in a safe and practical way. But that didn't stop enthusiastic and money-hungry doctors from prescribing the stuff like crazy.
I hate that. I want to ask, like, why are they doing it? But obviously it's for money.
In the 1900s, radium products were the hottest thing since commercially sliced bread, which actually wouldn't be invented until 1928. You had pills, syrups, powders, and foods.
That is so crazy. Didn't even prove anything yet, and everyone just made shit with it.
Radium underwear for the flaccid.
New energy for weak, sagging man? Testone radium energizer and suspensory?
Dudes. But the only thing worse than a radium gut were the radium suppositories that go in your butt. Yep, they're all real products, all real merch. You can see for yourself with a Google search. William Bailey over here, who was 0% doctor but 100% Greek,
great time to be alive. Great time to be alive back then. I'm being sarcastic.
He hopped aboard the Radium Express to Moneybag Junction. He produced Arium, radium tablets aimed at providing instant energy and strength, Linarium, a radium cream for aches and pains, Dentarium, a radium tooth powder, and finally Caparium for restoring hair loss. He wasn't very creative
Yeah,
on the names. These
honestly, that's how I would be naming everything.
products did not
He's like me.
work well, but they sold really well, which is what mattered. So with all of the funding and momentum, he just kind of kept producing more and more radium-based products, which leads us to Radiathor, William Bailey's magnum opus. As I said before, this was a small concentration of radium isotopes dissolved in water, guaranteed to give you approximately 1 microcurie of radiation straight to your system.
Oh,
it was
hell
essentially
yeah.
like
Sign
lobbing
me
a
up.
small radioactive grenade into your body.
Yeah.
Radiation, by definition, is traveling energy, and that traveling energy just blasts through your tissues, your bones,
Why did he make... Is that balls?
your cells, and just wreaks havoc. 1 microcurie is equivalent to 37,000 radioactive decays per second. Think of it as 37,000 little razors going around and just fucking everything up. Every single
I love
second.
that. I love
Slicing
that.
and dicing chemical bonds, breaking apart your DNA, and just causing so much irreparable damage. Not good. Pretty far from the positive attribute
You cannot use too much radium self. Oh boy! It can be applied in any amount on any part of the body on the most sensitive tissues. It's harmless, soothing, penetrating, and effective. Okay.
that were promised, right? Well, turns out it didn't even friggin' matter. According to the Museum of Radiation and Radioactivity, over 400,000 bottles of Radiathor were sold between 1925 and 1930.
I mean, I cannot blame the people that bought it. You would think, because he said like doctors were selling it too, right? You would not think that if a doctor is like selling this kind of stuff that it would be bad for you.
This high number was due to the fact that Bailey gave direct financial kickbacks to doctors for prescribing the stuff.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if your doctor says this is good for you, why would it not be good for you? This is insane.
Sell a bottle and get a little bit of cash for yourself. This is technically illegal nowadays, but
Thank
yeah,
God.
right.
Oh,
But didn't people
yeah, it probably still happens in some places.
get sick? Yup. The most high-profile consumer of Radiathor was Ebenezer McBurney Byers, an amateur US golf champion and son of a wealthy industrialist. In 1927, at the age of 46, he was prescribed Radiathor as a pain reliever after getting a boo-boo on his arm.
That is so sad though. People went to the doctor for a problem, thinking the doctor is actually going to help them. Instead, they get freaking Radiathor because the doctor got paid off.
But Bayer ended up going a bit overboard. Over the next 3 years, he would consume 1,400 bottles of Radiathor. Initially, he claimed that it made him feel better, relieved the pain, and gave him a, quote, toned up feeling, but as time went on, this supposed placebo effect wore off, and the real effects of radiation poisoning started to become apparent. He lost weight, suffered pounding headaches, and began to lose his teeth. He stopped taking it altogether in 1930, but it was way too late. Just a year later, in 1931, he was beyond help. Bayer's lawyer reported
Spooky medical.
that his entire upper and lower jaws had been removed, save for 2 teeth. His bones had
This
become
is not Byers. Oh, but a commonly misattributed image of a World War I soldier's injuries.
save for 2 teeth. His bones had become brittle and holes formed in his skull. Tragically, he died on March 31st, 1932, with his now radioactive body being buried in a lead-lined coffin. Now, this is probably where you hope I talk about how Bailey got arrested, fined, convicted, yada yada yada. No such luck. The US Federal Trade Commission did issue a cease and desist for the production of Radiathor, but could not legally force Bailey to stop. The Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, also did not have the power to pull the plug. They could only advise that people not drink the radioactive water. Bailey faced no legal consequence whatsoever. Facing public backlash after Bayer's death, his reputation was tarnished and he was forced to move on. He continued to sell radium-based products for years up until 1949, because that's when he died. In some form of poetic justice, William
didn't even really get punished.
Bailey died a painful death from bladder cancer as a result of his radium exposure over the years. Sometimes karma is a beautiful thing. This sad-looking sack of sideburns is the silly-named Scottish soldier Gregor McGregor, and he's a bad boy. Already an accomplished military tactician, McGregor achieved the rank of major in the British Army while serving during the Peninsular War. However, after an argument with a senior officer over I don't know, British things. Old Greg was discharged from service in 1810.
What are British things? What are British things to argue about?
Now disgraced and poor, he angrily sailed to South America.
Why does he still have that thing between his eyes?
To seek his fortune as a mercenary for hire. There, he used his military expertise to fight back the smelly Spanish during Venezuela's war for independence, ranking himself up
Crazy that he was able to do all of that stuff with that thing between his eyes.
to a brigadier general in the process. He even wifed up a very lovely cousin of the great liberator himself,
Oh hell yeah!
Simon Bolivar.
Oh hell
Nice
yeah!
work.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
But of course, the revolutionary effort started hitting a rough patch. Greg began losing ground in various Spanish counterattacks. By 1820, General MacGregor was forced to retreat into the Mosquito Coast. There, he met the anglicized Mosquito King himself, George Frederick. In case you were curious, he was not an actual mosquito, just king of the mosquito people. Anyway, the Wingless King, having a pre-existing cooperative agreement with MacGregor, granted him tactical authority
Lots
over a
of land.
sizable district of land positioned smack dab on Honduras Bulge. The area, dubbed Poyet, was a very
Poyet.
real land grant to Greg,
Oh, it's
but
pronounced Poyet.
his position put him at a disadvantage. After a string of military failures, he was effectively isolated, and being a mercenary, some of his allies had turned on him. So, while others saw success in their own revolutionary campaigns, Greg was forced to carve his own path to wealth and status. Now the proud owner of huge tracts of land, Greg got to work with a plan.
The eyes on this drawing kind of scare me.
Whether his intent was malicious or not is debatable, but what is known for certain is that Greg made several
It's the Monopoly guy!
attempts to rub weenuses with some of the big financial bros of the age, the most notable being rich bald boy Nathan Rothschild.
Inconceivable!
Greg was looking for a direct cash injection to develop the area of Poyet into a thriving town, but like a retirement home that lost its denture fund, no one was biting. So he traveled to London looking for more investors. At the same time, the newly independent countries of Peru, Chile, and Colombia were also looking for some moolah to tap into the region's potentials. They were able to secure funding through various bond issues on the London Stock Exchange. Now, here's a Financial Friday lesson for you. Learn about money, learn about cash.
Why do we see ass?
It's Financial Friday. The purpose behind a bond issue is to raise money for a larger project, like, say, developing a whole-ass country.
Okay,
Bonds are
yes.
issued out by the owner, in this case, Gregor MacGregor. These bonds are then purchased by eager investors at a guaranteed interest rate that is set to mature at a later date, meaning that no more interest is paid out, and that bond can be cashed out for the original amount plus the interest. Essentially, you're tying up money in a project, but you're guaranteed money back, and then some for your troubles. Selling money to make more money. Rich people things. So with a bunch of rich folk finger blasts in South America with oodles of cash, there was a real craze going on. I mean, every investor believed that these countries housed untapped resources, so it was basically free money. And if there's something that any person drips their drawers at, it's free money.
Oh yeah, I love free
So
money.
with all this momentum, Greg saw his opportunity, but he needed to sweeten the deal a bit. He needed to have his land seem just as attractive, put together, and potentially profitable as the others. To do so, he donned a false name and authored an
Captain Thomas Strangeways.
extremely detailed and overly embellished pamphlet advertising the wonders of Poyet. The pamphlets boasted all kinds of features like overly abundant resources, rivers flowing with gold, endless
Oh,
sugar
God.
and tobacco, and a thriving
I can already feel it go wrong.
colony with all the fixins. A full-blown cathedral, opera house, theater, royal palace, bank, a wawa or two, all the right things for a developing nation. So after gathering a small financial team and showing his formal land grant from the Mosquito King, alongside
Lots of
very little
land.
verification work from the London Stock Exchange, Greg was granted a £200,000 loan, a modern-day equivalent of nearly $44 million.
Holy shit.
Now, it's no surprise that some of his sleazy financial partners skimmed some of that money and skipped town, not wanting to stick around for the lie to unfold. But Greg was about to be forced to put his money where his mouth was. An eager group of about 250 settlers, including doctors, lawyers, and teachers, actually set sail for the supposed
no.
paradise that was Poyet, hoping to reap
no.
the rewards of their investment. And with Greg needing to keep up the ruse, he was all...
How's he gonna do that?
But arriving in spring of 1823, the settlers were
shit.
disappointed. There was no opera house, there was no bank or palace or cathedral.
Oh, that must feel so f***ing bad.
There sure as shit were no gosh damn wawas. There was nothing. Nothing but thick-ass jungle. What the fuck? More than half of them died from exposure and starvation.
No, that is actually so fucking sad.
Any survivors made their way back to London and exposed
This is so
the
evil.
whole scheme. With the illusion falling apart, Greg fled to Paris where, get this, he pulled the same scam, except, with Frenchier investors. He raised
Did they also go? Please don't go.
£300,000 with that stunt, but word got out and Gregor McGregor was formally arrested in 1825. Now, you'd think after defrauding a bunch of investors and getting over 100 people killed, that would get him thrown in the slammer, right? Now, because of his military reputation, he was actually acquitted and deported back to London. After his little slap on the wrist, he attempted the same scheme again on a much smaller scale.
Are you serious? Why do you keep going?
Luckily, found no success. After 13 years of trying to get people to continue to invest in his spit of land, he gave up, packed up, and returned to South America. Now, despite all of his wrongdoings and his military losses and disgraces, he was actually welcomed back to Venezuela as a renowned war hero and prominent figure of the revolution. He was given back pay and a general's full military pension.
What the
peacefully and happily in Caracas at the age of 58, with full military honors. As for the region of Poye, it remains largely an undeveloped stretch of jungle to this day, ready to give any would-be adventurer a hefty case of swamp ass.
I'm not happy with this ending. The Mechanical Turk.
In today's day and age, robots are all around us. They make our products, serve our food, save our lives, and even deliver our most discreet packages. That's
Drone deliveries are a thing now?
that's my new leaf blower.
Right,
That
your
vibrates.
leaf blower.
But back in the days of yore, robots or automatons were something of a novelty. Created as far back as the 4th or 5th centuries BC, automatons performed simple, repeated actions in a mechanical loop. They were a wonder to look at, physical embodiments of engineering genius. All the cogs, gears, whistles, and wheels could captivate audiences who marveled at their complexity. Jump to the 1700s and automatons were getting a ton of attention. A bunch of master craftsmen were churning out stunning masterpieces. Swiss watchmaker Pierre-Jacques Dreux meticulously manufactured the musician, which played an organ, the draftsman, which drew one of 4 different images, and the writer, which wrote out custom messages using its cold mechanical fingers holding a quill. You also had
Ooh, that's
obviously
pretty cool.
French and rather droopy looking fella Jacques de Vaucanson that created the digesting duck, which would eat pellets and subsequently shit out a poop a little bit later. Real compelling stuff. While absolutely impressive for the time, they still had their limits. They could only perform a small amount of pre-programmed tasks, unable to operate outside of their rather
But still, that was really impressive.
strict mechanical boundaries. But what if automatons could do more, like, say, interact with humans or directly respond to their environment?
Don't tell me it's gonna be a guy in a robot suit.
Hey, I got an organ you could play. Well, it turns out
funny.
Hungarian engineer Wolfgang von Kempelen wanted to create such a machine. Not for the general advancement of technology, mind you. Nah, he wanted to do it to impress an empress, the debatably beautiful Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. Already in her good graces by being a successful advisor, Wolfgang wanted to go the extra mile, maybe even get close enough to tongue punch her chin folds. After
Ew.
witnessing the Empress react favorably towards a fancy pants magician in court one day, Wolfgang made an outburst, pledging that he could outdo the illusionist. Using his engineering expertise, he spent months developing and constructing the Mechanical Turk. Invented in 1770, the Mechanical Turk was an automaton that could play real games of chess against real human players. The Automan was clad in Ottoman robes, complete with a silky smooth mustache and a turban to boot. The entire android was attached to a large desk which housed the seemingly complex mechanics within and a simple chessboard above. When a player challenged the Turk, the mechanical man was capable of reacting to any move in real time, picking up and moving its own pieces in response. This was something that was never seen before, an automaton that could think and react to its environment, which is cool and all, but this machine wasn't just playing chess, it was beating all of the top players within the Hungarian aristocracy.
Oh?
Naturally, everyone was astounded and Wolfgang succeeded in wowing the Empress, receiving cash monies and a political thumbs up, but no lickety of her split. However, as you'd expect, the Mechanical Turk was too good to be true. Although
Of
many audiences
course.
applauded, they had all been defrauded. It was all fake. So let's take a look at how
Is
this
the guy in
illusion
a suit?
actually worked. Before a performance, the mechanical cabinet would be opened and presented to viewers one door at a time. One side housed those impressive-looking cogs and gears, but in reality, they didn't really do anything. They more or less made illusory mechanical whirring and grinding sounds to add to the show. The other side appeared comparatively empty. But what spectators didn't see was a human chess master housed in a cabinet. Since it was only opened at one side at a time,
Okay, it wasn't in a suit, but I knew it.
the chess master would contort himself to opposite sides, remaining out of view. When the cabinet was closed, he would assume the position and begin the game. When it was time to make his move, the chess master below utilized a complex pantograph, which was able to translate his finger and hand movements to that of the Turks, picking up pieces on an identical board within the cabinet below and placing them back down to complete a turn. But how did the chess master know exactly where his opponent's pieces were? Fucking magnets. That's how that works. The live chessboard was positioned directly above the chess master's head. Attached to each space was a small magnet on a copper wire. Dimly lit with just a single candle, the chess master tracked movements of each piece as the opponent made their move. When a piece was lifted, that magnet dropped. The piece then picked up a new magnet in the new space where it was placed. The chess master would then copy this move.
I would f that up.
Move on to his second chessboard in front of him to keep track of the whole game. Rinse and repeat until checkmate, and
Like, even though you literally see it there, I would f that up.
got yourself a chess-playing robot. But you don't really. It's just a dude remotely playing chess. Still impressive, mind you, but not truthful to what was being claimed. Although pressured to continue showing the Turk around in many venues, Kempelen didn't want to keep up the illusion, so he dismantled it. But after the Empress bit the dust and her son Joseph II took over, Kempelen was ordered to reconstruct the machine and take it on a tour across Europe. There, it played and defeated some of the greatest chess players of the time. He even beat Benjamin Franklin. Though it's gotta be said that some famous figures figured the feature to be fraudulent. The weak and weary Edgar Allan Poe voiced his opinion of human players being concealed within the cabinet, which there were. The truth is, several different chess masters played the part of the Turk over the years. Why? Money. What, you think playing chess for a living?
Of course, it's money.
You put food on the table back in the day? No. After the European tour between 1783 and 1784, the Turk went back into storage. Kempelen also went into storage 6 feet underground because he died. The Turk was then purchased in 1804 by German engineer Johann Maisel, who improved upon the design and continued public demonstrations for a nominal fee, defeating even higher profile people like Napoleon Bonaparte, who actually attempted to cheat twice, only to be met with the Turk swiping off the board's pieces in retaliation. The tours continued until Maisel's death in 1838, where the Turk was put on display in a museum in Philadelphia in the United States. Only
Oh, that's the same one?
for said museum to catch fire in 1854, taking the Turk with it. It was only then, after nearly 85 years of fooling the public, that the secret of the mechanical Turk was finally revealed in a chess magazine. But to be honest, by that time, no one really cared. They'd already moved on with their lives. What? I wasn't lying.
Hi! If you liked the video, please make sure that you like it and subscribe to my channel and turn on notification bell if you want to see more of it. I also go live on Twitch and on this YouTube channel, so come join us sometimes. Bye!